Hello, mysterious person behind the screen, and welcome back to our Avengers series of audio commentaries. We are at the second film, Avengers Age of Ultron. So, yes, without further ado.
If you'd like to sync this up with your own copy of Avengers Age of Ultron, put the film to the start and press play now.
Funnily enough, I think this film seems to get a bit forgotten about these days.
It does, yeah. 'Cause I remember, I think someone tweeted when Endgame came out saying, "We've got three great Avengers films." Oh, and Age of Ultron. Like, come on, it's not that bad. I mean, I can remember when it came out, I was following the discourse and people were saying, yeah, the reactions were ranging from, "Oh, it's so disappointingly mediocre," to, "It's one of the worst films of 2015." Like, really?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this was
Yeah.
the same year 50 Shades of Grey came out, and you have this as the worst film. And then I noticed conveniently that you delete that video saying it is one of the worst films of 2015.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it's flawed, and I do think it's probably the weak. Yeah, I think it is the weakest of
Out
the
of the
Avengers films, but it's
Yeah,
not
because
awful.
yeah, exactly. For me, it is trying more than its predecessor, and it does buckle under its own weight. But yeah, it's not as tightly written as the first film, but it is trying to do a lot more with the characters, trying to do a lot more with the story and the universe.
Mm.
And yes, as I said, it buckles under its own weight, but it does succeed. And out of all the MCU films, it's probably my comfort film. Like, I could put this on any time I like and never not be in the mood for it.
That's true. Yeah, no, it's a decent adventure with the Avengers, and I think it works better in hindsight. Funnily enough, now that we know kind of what this was leading to,
Yeah.
and we get a lot of payoffs to stuff that's set up here. It does work better in hindsight. Um,
Yeah, plus I think it is an important film in Tony Stark's overall arc because he creates Ultron thinking he's going to do better for the world, but he ends up uh, making things worse, and that's what is the final straw for him to say, you know what, I am going to change and make things better, not just for myself, but for other people. Not just with
yes.
my own weapons and toys. I'm actually going to be a good guy, be a
Yeah.
good person, a better person.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's funny, this opening scene I remember was criticised at the time because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you need to have watched Agents of Shield to understand it, and it makes no sense." I don't think so. I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I do as well because I mean I think we've just missed it, but Ford does say Loki's
Yeah.
scepter must be here, so that tells you all you need to know. Like, oh, they're looking for Loki's scepter, and I mean to be honest, it led me to thinking, wait, how did they get Loki's scepter? I thought Thor would have taken it back to Asgard,
Mm.
but as they explain in Endgame, yeah, Hydra got their hands on it.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes a lot of sense given what happened in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, they
The
probably
revelation.
cleaned up a lot of the alien tech, and obviously Hydra would use it for their own ends, and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean the episodes of Agents of Shield that set this up really they don't matter at all. It's literally just Strucker is in them for 5 minutes at the end,
Oh,
and they so I don't get like the people going, "Oh, it makes no sense if you haven't seen that show," because it does. I don't. Yeah.
yeah, when people kept telling me in 2015 this was the worst movie of that year, I was like, is it though?
Yeah, it's a very
Have
bizarre.
some have some perspective,
Yeah.
please. Yeah, it annoys me when people say the MCU films are some of the worst films I've ever seen. Like, you
Mm.
haven't watched a lot of films then, I bet.
No, no, not at all. You know, at their worst, they're mediocre but fairly
Exactly.
entertaining fluff. Um,
Exactly, yeah. That's what I'd say. At worst,
yeah,
yeah, they're mediocre fluff, but I have yet to walk out of an MCU film where I said, wow, that was terrible.
yeah. I mean, as much as I don't like Far From Home, it's not a terrible film. I just,
Hmm.
you know, and I mean, it's quite, you know, there is a discussion to be had about whether or not the MCU has damaged some parts of cinema in terms of the whole negative trends and things like that. But I don't. Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
sort of
I'd
another discussion.
argue the MCU hasn't made films worse. It's companies trying to copy the MCU that makes
Yeah.
films worse because, yeah, they just
Mm.
most of the time they just don't know how to do it. They just think pick up a comic, put a load of Easter eggs and references in. That's how you build a cinematic universe,
Yeah.
right?
It's another Dark Knight situation where the studios learned all the wrong lessons from the
Exactly,
success.
yeah.
Um,
hmm
in this case, just like they think it's satisfactory to build a cinematic universe with one or two films beforehand, then rush into a big old team up where it means
Exactly,
nothing.
yeah. hmm
I mean, look at the Dark Universe. That failed. That got
Oh God.
one film in before
Oh yeah. Was it just the Mummy or
the Mummy.
something?
Yeah, the Mummy, and that was it. And then it just
Were they meant
completely
to
got
have
cancelled.
Dracula, the werewolf, Frankenstein's monster?
Invisible Man got repurposed into a standalone film.
Ah, okay.
So it's just yeah, it was a complete mess. There's a publicity shoot with all the actors that were supposed to be playing the lead roles in that
I
universe.
mean, having said that, I can't wait for the Ghostface, Jigsaw, um, the demon from Paranormal Activity, the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers, whatever else there is in modern horror, all
Yeah,
teaming up for a crossover to end all crossovers.
I mean we've had Freddy versus Jason. Why not? Why not?
True, yeah.
Why not get some more in?
hmm I do like that because obviously when they did that in the first film, they did it as like not trusting each other. Now they're using it to outwit their enemies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, it's interesting actually watching this since WandaVision came out because I don't think you've seen that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I haven't. No.
No, okay. But in WandaVision, they really there's an episode where it just delves deep into Wanda's backstory before this,
Ah, okay.
and it's
hmm
interesting watching this, knowing kind of what led her to this. It's a very interesting kind of progression for that
hmm
character, and
Yeah, and I love Tony's nightmare coming up here
yeah,
because it's referenced in Endgame. He said, "What did I say all those years ago? We should have had a metal shield around the Earth. Tried that, didn't work, did it?"
yeah,
I remember watching the trailers for this and thinking, "Oh, is it gonna get darker?" Because there's Ultron as a villain felt very threatening, and also there was that "Strings on Me" song that had been slowed down from Pinocchio. I thought,
yeah.
"Oh Jesus, this is gonna get darker," but um, in some ways it does, but in other ways I'd argue it is a bit lighter than the first film because I'd argue this probably has more quips.
I think that's probably why it disappointed a lot of people because I think from the trailers they expected it to be a certain
hmm
way, and it kind of was. It didn't have the lasting
Yeah.
consequences that I think people expected, which is kind of what I
hmm
mean when I say that it's better in hindsight because we have seen those consequences now. Like
Exactly, yeah.
we've seen
hmm
how that has impacted Wanda. We've seen how it's impacted Tony, how it led to Civil War. Like Civil War as it is could not exist
hmm
without the setup in this film of the conflict and
Yeah,
the
I'd say so.
and Tony's kind of realization couldn't exist without this. So yeah,
Yeah, and also just jumping forward a bit, at the end of the film when Thor flies off and says, "I'm going to find the Infinity Stones," that is the last time Tony sees Thor until the start of Endgame where he says, "What's wrong with him?"
oh yeah, shit, it is. You're right. You are
Yeah, because
right.
they
Yeah,
then they don't meet in Infinity War. He just don't. They're only mentioned. He says, he says, "Oh, you know Thor,"
yeah, yeah, yeah. They miss each other, don't they? It's
because Thor obviously meets Cap, but yeah, Tony and Thor do not meet in Infinity War.
no, yeah.
And I remember when Thor Ragnarok came out, there was that joke in Civil War where Ross said, "Do you have any idea where Thor and Banner are now?" And it cuts to a scene of them pissing about in Ragnarok.
It's an odd editing trick there when Wanda goes back through the door.
Yeah, it's
It's
weird.
like sped
just...
up suddenly. It's very
Mhm.
odd. It's interesting actually how different this feels visually to the first one. Like it's still
Mhm.
Joss Whedon doing this, but it feels
Yeah,
like the aspect ratio is different.
it
Um,
is. Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
odd, considering the aspect ratio for the first one was kind of designed so you could fit all of them in frame, the
Mhm.
scale of
Yeah.
them. Um, it's a lot more desaturated. It's a very big departure from the look of the first one.
It is. Yeah, and I think the visual style for a lot of MCU films that are primarily set on Earth, I'd say, kind of take
Mm,
after this one.
yes, and I think for the worse. Because I don't mind it
Mm.
in this one, but like when we get to Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is a film that just looks so bland, in my opinion, and
Mhm.
just so grey and just no life to the image. I think it's kind of, yeah, I don't know.
And despite Tony being um, a lot of people would say, kind of a selfish man, I love this nightmare because it shows deep down, yeah, he does care for his friends. He
Yeah.
just doesn't have the best intent, just doesn't have the best ways of fulfilling his intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Hawk impaled there? Looks like it.
Yeah, yeah. He is. He's completely impaled. Yeah.
hmm Plus, I did look it up. Apparently, Mark Ruffalo did do motion capture for the Hulk.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. And it's why his face looks a lot like him as well, because it's very
hmm
mapped to his face, really. And this makes sense. So this is a logical continuation of Tony's PTSD from Iron Man 3, I think.
Definitely,
What he
yeah.
sees there.
Overdoing things because Iron Man 3, he says, I'm just going to make 45 suits to protect myself, and now it's
Yeah.
I'll just put a huge metal AI around the Earth to protect the Earth, and it completely backfires.
Mm.
Because I'd argue, out of all the four Avengers films, this is probably the one that's most about Tony.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, in the comics, I could be wrong, but did Hank Pym have something to do with Ultron's creation?
He did indeed. Yeah, he did indeed. Yes, it was a Hank Pym thing.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
yeah, it's all. It's weird in the MCU films. A lot of Pym's role in things is kind of transplanted onto Banner before before they introduced Pym, obviously. Um,
And the ironic thing is, Hank Pym is introduced by saying, you know, in the 70s, you took all my ideas, or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, right. And it's interesting they went the route of like they made Hank Pym old when we first met him, and they went Scott Lang was Ant-Man for the MCU, whereas in the comics it's obviously different. How do you feel about the the Natasha Bruce romance?
I like it. It's fine for what it is, but I'd say in hindsight, it feels like they're trying to retcon the Incredible Hulk a bit more because obviously he
A
had
little bit.
Betty Ross in that, and they never formally broke up in that film.
No, 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 no. It
Um,
is odd. It does
and with
sort of
the
come out of
whole
nowhere.
Yeah, because the whole romance thing, it's not really addressed when they meet each other again
Mm,
in Infinity War and Endgame. But I'd argue, yeah, there's more important things at stake in those two films.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Because they have that moment in Infinity War where they see each other, and it's like a beat, and then I think Bruce's reaction when she dies. I think those are the only two moments.
Mm-hmm.
I must say I do quite like the whole thing that this film does of like, yeah, it's the Avengers Tower. It's their base.
They're all well established now.
They live together. It's their base. They have parties. It's very much like a cartoon or one of the comics. It's nice.
Yeah. Plus, I just realised both the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy, they have their own aircraft.
Yeah.
Also, Cap's suit in this is just sweet.
It's great. Yeah, it's really good.
It's the best suit, I think, that he's worn.
It is really good.
I mean, this does have one of my favourite outtakes from Chris Evans, where it's at the end he goes, Avengers, and then just goes, ah.
Yeah.
Because, the first time they say Avengers Assemble is Endgame, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the big pay. Like, it was the huge thing in the cinema. It's like, they finally said it after all these years.
But people joke. I don't think any of the Avengers heard Cap say assemble. They all just started running when Thor just went, ah!
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like, we're already assembled. We're right here. We're no one needs to assemble. We're all done.
Chief, don't you think someone should help her? Yeah, right behind you, Lou.
There's a really cool image with the scarred Iron Man drone.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I love how visually the creation of Ultron is shown to us, because you've got those weird cube and ball thingies, like orange for Ultron and blue for Jarvis. It's just really cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice visual. Honestly, Avengers Tower did not last nearly as long as it should have.
No, because they don't use it in subsequent films. They
don't
just
use it at all.
That base thingy, Avengers.
Yeah, the
compound?
Avengers 8 compound. Yeah,
which
is cool. I mean, come on, it's the Avengers Tower. It's why it's a shame that it's a shame that they. I mean, it is in Homecoming, but they're moving everything.
That's true. Yeah. The Honest Trailer's made quite a good point. When the president was nearly killed, the Avengers didn't assemble. When the Dark Elves threatened to plunge the universe into darkness, the Avengers didn't assemble. When Hydra threatened to take down everyone with a militarized America, the Avengers didn't assemble. But when they stole Loki's scepter, the Avengers assembled.
Yeah. It is true. I mean, that's the problem I know a lot of people had at the time with a lot of Phase 2 films was, why aren't the Avengers here? It's weird that the Avengers aren't here and things like that. You don't really hear people talking about that.
They make a joke about it in Ant-Man when Hank Pym's explained the plan to Scott, and he just says, why don't we just call the Avengers?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And I do give credit to the Phase 2 films. They did try and explain that. In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark's presumed dead and cut off from everyone. He can't just call up the SHIELD helicarrier. Yeah. He can't just call one of his fellow Avengers. He has to rely on his brain and what little gadgets he has. For the Dark World, I don't know, because Thor's quite off-world, so can he really just call one of his fellow Avengers?
He's quite off-world in it, and I think, no, it doesn't really bother me in that. I know it's like plunging the universe into darkness, but even so, what it actually ends up affecting is quite small scale.
Plus Winter Soldier, according to the Russo brothers, it happens over the course of a week or a few days, so
Yeah.
there was no time for them to call any other Avenger.
And it makes sense there because, the Winter Soldier is all about who can you actually trust, who is Hydra,
Exactly,
who
yeah.
is Shield. It makes sense for the Cap and
Yeah, and
Natasha to
Cap
just be on the run.
yeah, Cap was introduced to the other Avengers by Shield, so
Yeah. Like this, Bruce and Tony in a lab in Avengers Tower. It just feels like straight out the comics or one of the cartoons.
exactly,
It's just
yeah.
nice that they have this base, and I just wish we kind of kept up with that a bit longer.
hmm
Because I think this one, and it's undergone a bit of a renaissance as well, because since we found out about the whole Joss Whedon thing, people are suddenly less sympathetic to the fact that there was a lot of studio interference in this.
Ah, okay.
Because there was a lot, like it's very
Yeah.
much, there was a hell of a lot of studio interference in this. And that is kind of public
Well,
knowledge.
yeah, because apparently for the sequel, Joss Whedon wanted Thanos to be the villain.
Yeah. Yeah, there was all that, and all of the setup for the Infinity Stones, that is all kind of Marvel forcing that in. And I think it is
Yeah,
the
I bet it was.
it is the weakest part of the film.
Yeah, because this is the I'd say this and Guardians of the Galaxy were the first MCU films to make explicit references to them because
Yes.
we had the Tesseract and the Aether, and
Yeah.
they weren't referred to in dialogue as the space and the Reality Stone. And it wasn't until we got Guardians of the Galaxy where the Collector shows them off, I think,
Okay.
and says, "Yeah, I'm sure it's that." He shows them off and says, power, space, time, mind, all that, and then here at the end of the film, I think Thor says, "The Mind Stone is the fourth of the Infinity Stones to show up in the last few years," or something like that, and.
Yeah.
So I'd say those two films were really propelling into, yep, we're doing the Infinity War story.
Yes. Yeah. James Spader is so good.
He
It's
is,
such a
yeah.
distinctive voice.
People really don't give him enough credit because
No.
he's great in this. I love his voice. I think you're confusing peace with quiet.
Yeah. It's so. His voice is so distinctive.
Yeah, Ultron is one of my favourite MCU villains, and I don't know why
think he's
people give
great.
him such a bad rap, because for a lot of people I hear, he quips and jokes too much, but weren't people complaining that other MCU villains were too bland and
Yeah.
boring? Whereas here he enjoys being evil, and I always love a villain who relishes in how evil they are.
It's fun. It is fun. I think it'd be. I think James Spader elevates a lot of it. I do
Yeah, and it
think
makes
does.
sense why Ultron is so sarky, because Tony Stark created him, so aspects of his personality are in there.
Yeah. Any fans of the US office here? I just every time he speaks, I just keep wanting to hear, "I'm the fucking Lizard King." For fans of that show, you'll understand.
Wow.
And I love this party scene. It's great. It's great just to spend time
Yeah,
with
it
these
could have.
characters.
And again, the whole challenging each other to lift Thor's hammer. Again, that does feel like something that would happen in the comics or the cartoon.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's not just filler. It is paid off later when Vision picks it up because, as Thor says, "You're not worthy." And yeah, it shows what type of person Vision is, because he is worthy to carry Thor's hammer.
yeah, yeah. And it's just nice, and this is why the MCU works. Ultimately, I think this is why we love the MCU when it's great, is because
Yeah.
it takes time to have these scenes with these characters interacting. It takes time
Hmm.
to make us love the characters.
Yeah, and later on, I think, as this is a party, it's more lighthearted. Later on, we kind of get the darker version of this scene where they're all at Hawkeye's
Yeah.
safe house and they all discuss,
Mm.
are we actually doing better for the world? Are we actually doing worse?
Yeah.
Should we really be ending a fight before it's even started?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's great. It's what, team up films could feel hollow, but we have scenes like this between Sam and Steve, which is a follow on to their relationship from the Winter Soldier, and it's just nice that we
Exactly,
get
yeah.
this. I think a lesser group of creatives
Hmm.
would cut that scene.
Yep. Yeah, not to rag on Suicide Squad more, but I'm gonna. Sorry, this stuff keeps slipping out. The reason they all puss out in this film, there's a legitimate reason for it. In Suicide Squad, it feels like, oh, we want to make this a heartwarming comedy now,
Yeah.
so puss out in the bar for about 5 minutes, then come back and face the villain.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense because they're all convicts and psychopaths. Why would they wuss out?
Yes. Exactly. It's just like, ugh.
Let's just copy that film that has a talking raccoon in it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, all is forgiven for
Yeah,
that now. We have James Gunn's version, as far as I'm concerned. I can't imagine ever watching the 2016 one again.
never. I mean, they should use it for the Ludovico treatment, like in A Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
Strap someone down in a straitjacket, force their eyes to be open, play that on in the background before they go, "Stop it, please! I beg you!" I mean that. I know it became a meme, but that line of "Will we some kind of a Suicide Squad?"
Mm.
That is the equivalent of a 40-year-old teacher grabbing a skateboard, cap backwards, sunglasses, saying, "Hey, fellow kids, allow me to rap with your brothers."
Exactly.
Yeah, look how cool we are. No, you're not. You're lame. The equivalent of Marge Simpson saying, "Am I cool, kids?" No. Yeah, I love this. The trying to lift Thor's hammer. It's
It's
great.
so good.
And I love the little squeak that happens when Cap lifts it up,
Yeah.
and I love Thor's reaction because I kind of see that as, oh no, he can't be worthy. I'm
Yeah.
the only one who's worthy. But then when we come back to it in Endgame and he's picking up Mjolnir, he's like, I knew it.
Yeah, which that's what I mean. It's brilliantly paid off in Endgame.
Yeah,
And
Thor's ego has settled a lot, having gone through all of the tragedy over
yeah,
the past years, and he's humble enough to accept that yes, people are as worthy as me
yeah,
to
exactly.
wield the hammer.
Also, this was the film that made Clint one of my favourite characters in the MCU.
Yeah, true, because it was kind of a nothing character in the first film,
Yeah,
but here I'd say he's the heart and soul of the film
he
because
is.
he's the one who brings the twins in, says to Scarlet Witch later, the city's flying, there's robots everywhere,
I love that.
and I've got a bow and an arrow.
None of
You
this
walk
makes
out that
sense.
door, you're an Avenger, yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense, just roll with it.
yeah. Well, so that prima nocta line is an interesting joke because I didn't know what prima nocta was, but when you Google it, um, it's the it is the historical legal right of a monarch to have sex with any female subject,
Yeah,
particularly on her
that's
wedding night.
that's true.
So that's an interesting joke. I love the running joke about the language as well. That's so
Hmm.
funny. I love the humor in this. It's
It
really
is
good.
great, yeah. Worthy.
That's a really such a creepy reveal for Ultron.
Yeah, yeah, because I think from the trailers, a lot of people were expecting him to be something like Skynet from Terminator, where it's just this
Yeah,
really dark AI that takes no shit from anyone and barely makes any jokes. But I think what we get is good enough for this film.
yeah.
And I have said this before, but it amazes me that before when Avengers Assemble came out, people were waiting for the Amazing Spider-Man to come out.
Yeah.
And when this came out, it was confirmed at that point that Spider-Man would be joining the MCU. And that
Yes.
only happened in 3 years. Just
It is nuts
wow.
how quickly the Amazing franchise just was birthed
It
and
came
then
and
died.
went. Yeah, I know.
It is insane.
hmm And yeah, for some reason, people went into this film expecting there to be a Spider-Man
Yeah, I
cameo,
don't
but
get that. That's not
he
how
hadn't
movies
even
work.
been. Yeah, he hadn't even been cast yet because this
Yeah.
came out April, May 2015. I don't think Tom Holland was confirmed until
Yeah, no.
June, July of that year.
It's not how movies work.
Yeah.
Also, that has the joke about Banner landing in Natasha's boobs has not aged well.
Just
I don't know
nope.
if you know about the thing with Justice League, because obviously because you've only seen the Snyder cut, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yes,
did he bully Gal Gadot or something like that?
Joss bullied Gal Gadot
hmm
to repeat that joke, because in the theatrical cut of Justice
Oh,
League, the Flash and Wonder Woman fall over, and he
okay.
lands in her tits, and it's even
Oh,
longer
oh
than
grief.
it's even longer than the joke is in here. In this, it's like a 5 second thing. In that, it goes on, and he won't move. And it's
Oh,
that was a scene that he threatened to end Gal Gadot's career if she didn't do
oh, what?
on the
Come
reshoots.
on.
Yeah, so not a nice chap,
Oh.
not a nice chap, and that's why seeing it in this has not aged well. I don't know why that was a fetish of his. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't do any of those things. It's just, it's interesting how no one from, say, the MCU has come out and said anything about Joss Whedon's behaviour, as if to say, oh, he did this to me, he
Mm.
did that to this person. So, I don't know, maybe he had a pleasant time. Maybe everyone had a pleasant time working with him on the MCU.
Maybe. I mean, it's obviously not a universal thing. And Anthony Head came out afterwards and said, "Yeah, look, I fully believe everyone accused, and I just wish I could have done something because to me on set,
Ah, okay.
he said to me on set he was fine. So it was
Oh,
kind of acknowledging that his experience was different, but not kind of not disbelieving
ruling
the
out what everyone else had done,
yeah,
yeah.
which was great, and he was very respectful and yeah, it's just the thing about abusers is they don't abuse everyone. That's the unfortunate
Yeah.
reality.
hmm
So it's very possible something could have happened. I mean,
hmm
yeah, I think all eyes went on Scarlett Johansson after that all that came out.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think she said anything.
hmm
It's funny because Joss Whedon actually looks a bit like Thanos.
Yeah, I remember that
He,
joke.
he does like
Happening when they were showing the trailers for Thanos, yeah.
yeah.
In every Avengers film, does someone grab Tony by the throat?
Uh,
Loki
Yes.
does it. Thor just did it there. I'm sure Thanos grabs him by the throat in Infinity War, but I can't recall if anyone grabs him in Endgame.
I don't. Yeah, well, I don't. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't remember.
hmm Yeah, because I think there's underlying themes in this film of changing and making up for the past to make a better future.
Yeah.
Ultron has the worst intentions of that by thinking that humanity is screwed over, so let's just destroy them.
Yeah.
Whereas here, and and again, it's then represented in Vision, who is pretty much um, innocent, naive, kind of devoid of sin,
yeah.
and could be the perfect life form for Earth to live on.
Yeah. Of course, he even says Endgame, doesn't he?
Yeah, true. Yeah, because I would argue, yeah, the studio interference does feel pretty prominent here, and it can hurt the story. For example,
Yeah.
we get in a bit Ulysses Claw, played
Yeah.
by Andy Serkis. He's in it for one scene, and then never mentioned again
Mm.
throughout the whole film. And obviously, he comes back in Black Panther, but again, why include him? It could have been anyone.
Yeah, it's interesting because this was a good while before Black Panther, so it's
hmm
but obviously they were seeding and he had been cast because of Civil War and everything, and
Yeah, yeah, they both. Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson said it was hard acting because they had to look at three big dots that were high above James
yeah,
Spader's head because Ultron's obviously taller than a human being, and occasionally they'd find themselves looking at James Spader's eyes when they interact with him,
yeah.
but yeah, they had to pull it off.
Some great lines here as well. That the
hmm
invaders create Avengers.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I'd argue for MCU films, I'd say 2017 is when we started getting consistently good villains because we that
Yeah,
year we had Ego, Vulture, Healer. Then it carried on with what's he called? Killmonger in Black Panther, and of course
yeah,
leading up to the biggest threat of all, Thanos.
exactly. Yeah. No, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. That yeah.
Because Phase One and Phase Two, the villains were just really kind of forgettable for the most
Yeah,
part.
they weren't sensational. There were
hmm
some highlights, but
Yeah.
and yeah, this story about the Stark bomb
hmm
blowing the house to bits. You see that in One Division. Um,
Oh,
and
okay.
you see them trapped underneath. Um, and yeah, that's what I mean. It's interesting watching this now given what has transpired in the subsequent projects and what we know about. It's especially interesting kind of watching her interact with Ultron, given that Ultron kind of becomes a bit... Well, not... He doesn't become Vision, but there's a bit of Ultron in Vision. And it's kind of interesting watching these two interact, knowing that obviously they would get together.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen Scarlet Witch's original costume, and Jesus, it's skimpy.
Yes.
All it's literally a corset and some underpants.
Essentially, yeah.
Just, wow, how do you fight crime in that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Quicksilver does puzzle me because he's in this, but then he's also used in the X-Men films.
Yes, he's one of those rare characters that slip through the cracks where the rights to him were kind of shared by...
Okay.
It was a weird legal loophole where the rights to him were shared by both Fox and Disney. It is it's kind of odd. And I think the X-Men version of him is better, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I have no idea what's happening with the X-Men franchise now that Disney's got a hold of it.
Apparently, they have plans. They have plans to bring them into the MCU.
Well, I know a Fantastic Four film is in development, but
yes,
I do hope they keep James McAvoy as Professor Xavier.
I hope so. I don't know if they will, though. I think they're just going to do a full... I think because the reason I think the reason it hasn't been announced is because they're going to leave it a long time before touching the X-Men again, just to kind of leave that previous version of the franchise behind and let it kind of go away from people's memories.
I mean, I'd say that that particular franchise does have its ending because I'd say Days of Future Past and Logan are very good endings. You kind of get best of both worlds. You get the happy ending with Days of Future Past, humans and mutants are living together in peace. Then you get Logan, which is the dour, bittersweet ending where Logan obviously dies.
Yeah.
And so I think you can have both, and I've really felt the X-Men franchise should have ended with Logan and Days of Future Past.
I agree.
Apocalypse comes along and Dark Phoenix comes along, and it's like the show's still going after you've applauded and left the cinema.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And it's odd to me as well. Apocalypse just does feel like an unnecessary continuation.
Yeah, it's such a feeling of... I find it alright, but just the whole feeling of that exists.
Yeah, exactly. Andy Serkis. Love Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Kids are probably like, oh, so that's what he looks like.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, he's now crossed over to DC because he is now playing Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah. Great
In
casting
the
choice.
Batman.
Great casting choice.
Perfect casting, I think, yeah.
I can't wait for that. He should be really cool. Tomorrow, as of recording this, I'm seeing Venom Let There Be Carnage. So I'm not looking forward to it, but we will we will see how his directing shapes up in that.
I don't really have a plan to see it, but from what I've heard, it's a rarity in the film industry nowadays. Apparently, it's only 90 minutes long.
Yeah, it's really short. I'm seeing it after work tomorrow, and it's just literally. I mean,
wow.
it's not a. To be honest, I probably wouldn't go to see it if I didn't have Odeon Limitless, because I don't think I'd want to pay for it. But yeah, no, I'm intrigued. I've heard what the post-credit scene is.
What is it?
I mean, okay, so spoilers for anyone now. You have been warned. I've not seen it, but I know what it is. So the post-credit scene is Venom, Eddie Brock, seeing on the TV that the reveal from the end of Far From Home.
Oh, never.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh wow.
and I've heard that
But
there's
then again,
yeah, go on.
well, I'm just thinking, does that really mean anything to that version of Eddie Brock? Because he's never encountered Spider-Man, and
No.
he has no reason to hate him because they've never met.
Well, apparently, and I'm not sure if this is true, and obviously this will be outdated by the time this commentary goes online. But I apparently there's like a blue flash of light, or like a flash of light, and he wakes up in like a hospital, and he sees on the
Oh,
TV the Daily Bugle thing.
ah,
So yeah, so basically it has complicated everything, and
but
now the
yeah, that
Venom
does.
films are in the MCU.
Well, and
Maybe
all,
I don't know.
yeah, because from a character standpoint, him seeing who Peter Parker and Spider-Man is, he should just be like, who?
Yeah,
He's never met him before. I mean, he might know of him, of who Spider-Man is, but
yeah.
from what I've seen in Venom, no, he's never met Spider-Man. He doesn't know who he is, so he's got no reason to hate him.
Mm.
Like, I bet they had him going, "Oh yeah," but like, you
yeah.
don't know who he is.
It's bizarre. I'm looking for, to be honest. My friend at work, I asked him how was it. He said, "Well, it was a waste of 19 minutes, but it was worth it. It was worth it for the post-credit scene." So
Wow.
that's yeah. I love that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
and
sure that should be
I
okay.
and I love later on where he just goes, "Shoot them." Who? All of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and he's so good in Black Panther as well when they're robbing that place. He says, "What is this, a bloody funeral? Turn on the radio."
he sat there singing "What Is Love" in the interrogation room.
The fact that Andy Serkis has never won an Oscar is
Oh,
just,
it's baffling.
ugh.
Absolutely baffling.
Yeah, I mean, it's just snobbery, I think, from the whole motion capture
Yes,
side of it. They say it's not real acting.
definitely.
Because I remember Peter Jackson was trying to get him nominated for an Oscar for playing Gollum in Lord of the Rings, but yep, that never came to anything.
No, it didn't. Yeah, I mean, he should have. He should have. I still think he should
Mm.
have been nominated for War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, definitely,
Um,
yeah. Should have been nominated for Caesar.
because he was the lead in that film, and incredible leading performance. It doesn't matter if it was a
Exactly, yeah.
motion capture performance. He put everything into that.
Hmm. I love that. Oh,
Mm.
grabs the hammer. I think he watched Green Goblin and going, oh, oh.
Oh.
Plus, I love the jab at the first film where she tries to obviously hypnotize Hawkeye, but he's like, done the whole mind control thing before, not a
Not a
fan.
fan. Yeah, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Because it's just like, um, yeah. Of course they wouldn't do that again. It'd be stupid for them to put him in that situation again.
Yeah. I do wonder, was this the original idea for Ragnarok? Because it looks like a really dark, like it's setting up a really dark film, but what we got was a pretty fun cosmic space adventure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and I can totally buy that this setup just was not meant to be a part of
Yeah.
Joss Whedon's script because it does
Hmm.
feel like,
Particularly Thor's jacuzzi bits where he
yeah.
sees the Infinity Stones. Yeah, I love what this scene leads to later in the film with the safe house scene because
Mm,
you know they've pretty much seen their worst aspects of their past, their futures as well,
yeah,
and presently, they're not doing well with the general public because they've just created um, an insane artificial intelligence, and also
yeah,
Hulk just went on a rampage that Tony Stark probably caused more damage to when tried to get him away. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I really like about this film, because it is trying to put the Avengers through more hardships. Because in the first film, they were trying to obviously get along and come together to fight a common enemy, but here it's like their own demons have come to
Mm,
haunt them.
very much so. It's interesting. It's cool. Um,
Hmm.
and it's interesting watching the Black Widow stuff as well. You know, having seen Black Widow, very interesting stuff.
Also, we saw Heimdall there, and I
Mm.
remember there was a theory going round that said he had the Soul Stone because his eyes were orange.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were going to get the Soul Stone in like Guardians 2 or 4 Ragnarok, but no, it didn't pop up until Infinity War.
No, yeah. Which was it was a big surprise that I was really shocked.
Yeah, but it made sense because they establish it's the most mysterious of all the stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great we finally get the Hulk Buster armor in this.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it was teased for ages.
Mhm.
And funnily enough, it was in the first. It was in the Incredible Hulk video game.
Oh,
As
interesting.
an alternate skin for the Hulk, so you can
Ah,
play
okay.
as the Hulkbuster essentially. It's and the design is kind of based off the 2008 Iron Man suit. So it's
Oh,
like it's an
nice.
interesting kind
Cool.
of alternate universe design. It's pretty cool
Hmm.
actually. I quite like it.
I mean, what was the last MCU film to have a video game tie-in? Was it
Um,
First Avenger?
First Avenger, yeah, which was solid. That was a good game. That was not a bad game at
Hmm.
all. There was one for the Avengers planned, but it got cancelled.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no,
I mean,
it's yeah.
we do seem to have moved on from video game film tie-ins now.
Yeah, it's not a thing anymore. I mean, I think we've said before, like often they just do a mobile app, and
Yeah,
that is
true.
kind of what they do. It is a bit of a it is a bit of a odd thing that you just don't see them anymore. Maybe Lego games count, but even then, like they don't really.
Yeah, I mean, they're a light-hearted version of the film. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we have our Doctor Who Edge of Reality, I think it's called.
Oh yes, yes.
But apparently it's terrible.
Yes, I am tempted to buy it and stream it. Maybe. I mean,
Oh.
if anyone's interested in watching me play a supposedly terrible Doctor Who game, let me know and I will get it and I'll stream it. But yeah,
Can you do Return to Earth instead?
oh,
That's
that
even
would be
worse.
interesting, wouldn't it? That would be
What kind
interesting.
of I just want to ask, what kind of a fucking game do you have to be? how cheap do you have to be that your characters can't even fucking
Yeah,
jump?
I love the
Just
I love the review of death videos on
yeah.
it.
Oh god.
So funny.
But
Give me your
I
crystals.
mean, yeah, because I'm just sad that they never got any further.
Yeah,
But I get for their own sanity they had to
yeah.
stop because it's such an awful game.
Oh, I had it. I used to have it on.
I had it as well. I
Yeah.
had that Sonic Screwdriver Wii
Oh,
remote.
did you? I'd never had that. I've still got the
Yeah.
Sonic Screwdriver DS stylus. I still have
Wow.
that. But yeah,
Yeah,
no.
because I remember I think I got to the end of level 12 that it said this, congratulations, the Cybermen have been defeated. I was like, oh thank fuck for that, it's over. But then a Dalek saucer turned up and I was like, no! I felt
Ugh.
obligated to complete it.
Yeah, it's so. Oh, it's mental. It is mental, and yeah, the Edge of Reality is apparently, yeah, not very good,
Well,
which is a shame.
I'm sure I played the demo for that at Comic Con in 2019. Is it a VR game
The
as
the new
well?
one isn't. The Edge of Time was a VR game. Uh,
Edge of Time,
Edge
yeah.
of Reality is like it. It's an
hmm
expansion to it, so it's a non VR. It's a non VR version of the Edge of Time, except it's
Uh,
got new story elements in it. So it's got like David Tennant's Doctor is in it, like a new subplot, and
yeah,
it's
because I don't
added
think.
levels and things. So
Yeah, because I honestly don't think Doctor Who translates that well to video games because the Doctor's not exactly a superhero who's going to use their
yeah,
punches or guns to get out of a situation.
it's just a
I mean,
shame
he
that
could do.
yeah,
I
go
mean,
on.
he could do a video game from a villain's perspective, like The Last Dalek on
Yeah, yeah.
the Doctor Who website.
It's just a
Yeah,
shame that the Doctor Who as a property isn't big enough for a Lego game because it would be perfect.
that's for
A
sure.
Lego
Yeah,
game
I
would be
mean,
perfect.
closest we got was Lego
Yeah,
Dimensions.
and those levels in that were amazing. They were exactly what I would
Mm,
want from a Doctor Who game. Like on every level, they were absolutely
yeah.
fantastic. And it's just a shame that we can never, just because the property
Yeah,
isn't
have
big
it.
enough.
I'd say have it be like Lego Star Wars, where you know you go through a door. Each there's 13, 14 doors, let's say, if you include the War Doctor,
Yeah,
and you do advent. You choose like six, 5 or 6 key adventures from their era to complete in Lego form.
yeah. That'd be my dream Doctor Who game. It would be perfect.
Yeah, first level be probably their first story. Last level be their final story.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be so good. It's just a shame that I mean, this is the bad part of being a Doctor Who fan is you kind of have to keep reminding yourself that it is a fairly small property in the grand scheme of things, and we don't really,
Yeah,
we'll never really have the level of budget that Disney has. But yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, the Hulkbuster fight. This was a big fan.
hmm
You know, people wanted to see this for ages. For
Yeah.
so long, people wanted to see this, and
Yeah, plus that whole crumbling building and the rubble covering the civilians, that felt very 9/11 there.
yeah, it did. Yeah, and only a year later, Batman v Superman would do a very, very, very 9/11 inspired, which is an odd word to use, but
Yeah.
scene to open that film.
hmm I think maybe just to make the scene a bit more darker, maybe have, Hulk tear apart the Hulkbuster armor until he gets down to Tony's head being completely exposed, and that's when he stops realizing shit, I'm about to kill my best friend.
Yeah, it's an appropriate like moment, like him seeing all of the civilians.
hmm
It works, and I love the kind of silence of all
Yeah, I
this.
love this. The whole silence of it, just like where they think we're way out of our league here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realised Hawkeye's wife is pregnant here. Then by start
Mm.
of Endgame, well, I mean it's technically Infinity War, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they have what, a 3-year-old son. So yeah, that works
It
out, I
tracks.
think.
Yeah, it does track with what we know
Hmm.
of. And
Yeah, and I love how the Avengers are in the audience's shoes because we had no idea that Hawkeye had a family.
no,
Because
yeah,
yeah, I just thought he was an assassin who didn't have any ties to anyone.
yeah.
And yeah, I love Tony's reaction, like these are secret agents.
These are smaller agents.
Yep.
It's great. It is. And Linda Cardellini is his wife. I love Linda
Yeah,
Cardellini. Big fan of hers.
she's Velma from the Scooby Doo
She is. She is Valma.
film.
Yeah, she's in loads of things. Big fan of her work, and I'm really. It's just cool that she's in the MCU, and I hope she gets used more because
Yeah.
she's great, and they haven't used her enough.
Hmm.
It's just funny, like to see these these larger than life costumes in this
In
in
this
this farmhouse.
domestic
Yeah,
setting, yeah.
exactly.
And again, I said before, I felt that after the first four film, they didn't really know what to do with him,
Yeah,
and it is exemplified here because he disappears for a good chunk of the film here. I mean, obviously we see him with Selvig, but yeah, it's literally a been and done scene, and that's it. And then he pops up, creates vision, and then it's business as usual for him.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I just realised, is this the last appearance of Selvig in the MCU so far?
Yes, it is.
He's not in Ragnarok, and he is mentioned in Endgame as being a victim of the snap, but yeah, this is his last appearance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully they bring him back in Love and Thunder because I think we spoke about it last time.
Mm,
Darcy is now back in the MCU with WandaVision. Jane is in uh, Love and Thunder. It'd be nice if they brought him in it
yeah.
because I think Darcy is in Love and Thunder. So you've got two of that
Mm.
of that trio there. So yeah, and it's just nice spending time with Clint because it
Yeah,
really
'cause
does correct a lot of the issues with his character.
it does, yeah.
He's brilliant. Slightly odd line. I totally support your avenging. It's a
Yeah.
bit of an odd line, but
I like revenging. I remember with the woodpile scene that Tony and Cap are doing
yeah.
in this film. I remember for my English A levels, I saw this Saturday. Obviously went back into school Monday, and one of the first poems we did was called "The Woodpile," and I thought, oh,
Oh.
like Tony and Caps.
And it's true, like this film does jump around a lot more. You're right when it's like it's not as tightly written as the first one because it does jump around. Like, now we're in
Kind of like
Korea and
Yeah, kind of like Back to the Future Part 2, because
True.
I like that film a lot, but again, compared to its predecessor, it does jump around a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you're right there. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ultron should have shown up at the twins' house and be like, "You always did have a way with the ladies," and they'd be like, "Get the hell out of my house, you robot!"
Yeah, no, I don't. I still don't know how I feel about the Natasha Bruce
I think
romance.
it's fine for the most part, I think, in this film, but yeah, it just kind of comes a little bit out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
she's the one who recruited him in the first film, but doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get together.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel that they do. The reason they latch onto each other is because they both feel that they're monsters.
Yeah,
Uh, Banner in the literal sense, whereas Natasha more metaphorically because of her upbringing.
yeah,
She was trained to be a cold, heartless assassin.
yeah. I'm not. I don't know how I feel about the whole associating monstrousness with
Yeah, there is
not being
that.
able to have kids, and it's a
Yeah,
it's
because I don't know. Just in the scene itself, I always thought she was talking about her upbringing, not the fact that she can't have children.
yeah, it's just the whole. I think it's the whole thing that we saw like heavily implied the fact that she was sterilized earlier. And
Hmm.
then it's just yeah, it's a little bit. I don't know.
Just not. Yeah, she says they sterilize you, and then
Yeah,
immediately says, I'm a monster, and mm,
it's unfortunate. It's
yeah.
unfortunate, and yeah, a little bit problematic, but
I mean, I just realised this. They relate to each other through sex or reproduction or lack thereof,
yeah,
because there's that thing in the Incredible Hulk where Banner's like, "Oh no, we can't. I can't get too excited."
yeah,
That'd be awkward. I mean, that just reminds me of that of the end of time, in Doctor Who when everyone turns into the Master.
yeah.
Diamanda Hagen made a joke. It was a caption of two John Sims looking at each other like, "We used to be lesbians. Let's fuck again." And again, this sets up Civil War very nicely.
It does.
Steve is like, every time someone tries to end the fight before it starts, innocents get hurt. And Tony argues, but isn't that the point? We can end the fight so we can go home.
Yeah, it is really well
Because
done.
that's what Tony does want eventually. He wants a life probably with Pepper and to have a child, and that's what he gets in Endgame. But at the end of Ultron, I think this film, Cap accepts that the guy who wanted that went into the ice long ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's a brilliant line.
Because
Yeah,
obviously his vision is Peggy Carter saying to him, "It's okay, Steve, you won, we can go home." But he can't have that life anymore because
yeah.
Peggy Carter's an old woman. His best friend is a murderous psychopath,
Mm.
and he knows nobody from his time who's now survived into the present day.
Their relationship is, it's so well developed, and it's why Civil War works as well as it does.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I remember there being other controversy surrounding Black Widow as well, saying in this film she was too much of a damsel in distress, and yeah, she gets kidnapped by Ultron. But the point is, everyone here gets their asses kicked by Ultron.
Yes, again, it's unfortunate that she does get relegated to a bit of a damsel in distress plot device as we go into the third act. It's like, Natasha's been captured, we have to go save her and everything. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But here, I'd argue they're all
Yeah.
incapacitated in some way.
Yeah.
And also, Scarlett Johansson, apparently she was pregnant while filming this, so she had to have a stunt double do a lot of the work.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they looked and sounded alike. And apparently Chris Evans could get into a conversation with one of them, and then probably 3 minutes in would probably ask, "Are you Scarlett?" Am I talking to Scarlett?
Interesting. I know her and Chris Evans have a really close bond.
They do,
There's that photo of, I think, them playing what do they do? It's like a photo of them together, playing Nintendo or something.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're really good friends. So.
Yeah, Chris Evans just seems like the funniest guy on earth.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the funny and the nicest guy as well. He seems like he's such a yeah.
Did he do something COVID related for younger people as Captain America last year, or have I made that up?
I can't remember. A lot of celebrities, did do stuff like that, which was very good. I can't.
Yeah, because I know Simon Pegg recreated that scene from Shaun of the Dead with Nick Frost.
Oh yeah.
The take Pete's car, go round Mum's, kill Phil. But here he reworded it to say, take car, go back home, ring your mates, don't go to the pub.
Yeah.
Get some beers in, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
Course, Chris Evans got himself into a bit of hot water a few months ago, or maybe it was last year, when he accidentally leaked his own nude photos.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that. He put a screen recording on his Twitter, but forgot to remove the part where it showed his photo album, including a nude photo. So the internet got a hold of it. But what was great about the whole thing is everyone was flooding the hashtag with just pictures of his face. So he was just trying to bury it because obviously he didn't want it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they were trying to bury it as much as possible, and all the cast members came together to try and bury this, and it was just really nice and wholesome. And he made quite a few jokes about it afterwards. He posted a censored version of the image, and it was like, "Now I've got your attention. Vote in the next election."
Yeah.
So he was doing all that. So he was So.
And it's amazing. I think when he became Captain America, he was only 30 years old, but just from his performance alone, he can play to be a lot older than he looks and feels, a lot like Matt Smith, I think, with the Doctor.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. He's and of course I grew up watching him as the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four films, yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't he known for playing cocky characters earlier in his career?
Yes, he was known for smart asses and comic
and I
relief
love
characters. Really.
In Knives Out, Rian Johnson wrote his character to be a bratty smart ass.
Yeah, it was a bit of a return.
He is so good in that.
Yeah. It was a bit of a return to kind of the roles he played before Captain America. It was great to see. It really, really was. It was really
he's so
cool.
good in that. It's like, how's the SJW degree coming, Meg?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I like to think that, that, I can't remember the character's name, but that 16-year-old kid who just looks on his phone and just occasionally goes, liberal snowflake.
Yeah.
I wonder, are they based on those man babies who spend too much time on the internet and
Absolutely.
criticised a certain film that rhymes with past bedeye.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% most definitely.
They probably are,
That
yeah.
yeah, God knows Out's good.
Release the Knives Out cut where they cut out that scene. Sign the petition.
Yes.
Surprised that hadn't happened yet.
No, it's just people boycotted the film because Ryan Johnson's name was attached to it.
Oh, for God's sake. People really boycotted
Yeah,
it.
because Ryan Johnson's name was on it.
Oh, God.
But yeah, no,
Yeah, I've never said boycott a film. I'd just be like, if I ever look at a film, I'm just like, yeah, I ain't bothered. If I look at a
yes,
trailer and think, not bothered really.
yeah, exactly. Just not gonna go see it.
But yeah, I'd let people make their own choices. I wouldn't scream, "Don't say it! No, you're
Yeah,
gonna kill the film industry." I
exactly.
don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah, now the whole four going into that pool scene, that feels like it's been edited a
yes.
lot, and I
This
mean a
this
lot.
whole thing was a big like Joss Whedon. I think even at the time he was like, "Yeah, this isn't my scene. This isn't. I did. This isn't. This
Yeah.
wasn't in my script. This isn't mine."
Is this why he didn't come back for any MCU films? Because he felt there was too much
Yeah,
interference on this?
yeah. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, it's I mean, it's not a shame given what we know about him now, but I do really like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of his work, and it.
But as a person, yeah, he's a
Yeah, and I
twat.
mean, his work on these films is great. It really
Hmm.
is. So yeah,
Yeah, that was just so quick. And I remember that being quite a big thing in the trailers as well.
mm,
As if to say it was going to be an important plot point, but it's
yeah,
literally just a blink and you'll miss it. You could have, in the theatre, gone to the toilet, come back, and probably missed everything with that
yes,
bit.
definitely, definitely.
Does Ultron create Vision in the comics?
Does Ultron create Vision in the comics? I'm not entirely sure on that.
Oh,
Let
okay.
me have a look.
Does he have anything to do with Jarvis?
Let me have a look. Um, yes, he was constructed by Ultron in the comics. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's
Yes.
accurate
Yeah.
then. Nice. But ignore what we say because we don't know what we're talking about because we've not read the comics.
The motion capture for Ultron's great as well. Like considering he's a
It is,
robot, there's
yeah.
so much expression. Um,
Yeah, in his face and mouth as well. It is really good.
yeah, and it makes sense that he's snarky like Tony,
Like
like his
Tony Stark, his
creator.
creator. Yeah. Yeah, because I love how he's. I love that whole side. Is like, ugh. Like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Plus, I love how bratty he gets as well later when Cap's trying to attack him. He's just like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And again, it reinforces that this feels like Tony Stark's film
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Ultron feels like the inverse to Iron Man.
Interesting that Helen Cho has not ever really been mentioned again. since this film.
Is she dead?
She's just. I mean, what's the last we see of her in this? I can't remember.
Uh, don't know.
Because she does just, like. She has no relevance at all on the rest of the
Yeah.
MCU.
Mm-hmm. Will that leave me alone? Okay, how does the physics of that work? He blasted it. The door comes sideways, but somehow he goes up and he's still be able to be in speed with the truck? That doesn't make sense.
Magic.
Yep.
That's. Yeah, magic.
Well, there's a talking AI.
Yes, exactly.
And again, this is what I love about Cap. He clearly has no match against Ultron, but he takes him on regardless because that is what a hero does.
Definitely, yeah.
He hates bullies.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if this is Joss Whedon working through some shit, but James Spader's performance and his mannerisms as Ultron is very, very similar to Joss Whedon's, like, the way he speaks and the way I don't know if this is just him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if this is just him working through something or I don't know. It's striking. If you've ever watched an interview with him, it is strikingly similar.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I love how she literally says beep beep.
Yeah.
Almost like the Roadrunner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny.
All they need to do is put up a sign saying schoolgirls crossing,
Mm.
but then have him speed past, come back and hold up a sign saying Ultron can't read. If you know your Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoons, you'll know that that's a joke.
Yep.
I remember that was a thing a couple of months ago, the new Space Jam film.
Yeah, that came and went, didn't it? It's just nothing, no really relevance to anything. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the only live action, I mean, the only Looney Tunes, I mean, I know that there's only been three, but the only Looney Tunes film I've liked is Back in Action. That's honestly, I think, a legitimately good, funny
I've
film.
not seen it. I've heard good things about it though.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's as stupid as a Looney Tunes cartoon could get. Basically, Steve Martin plays the head of the Acme Corporation, and he wants to get hold of a diamond so he can turn the entire world into monkeys so they can work in his factory.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about as insane as that, and it's got some nice 007 parodies in that as well. Because
Nice.
heck, Timothy Dalton's in it.
Okay.
Yeah, as Secret Agent Damian Drake.
Okay. Very.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
and yeah, because he leaves instructions for his son, played by Brendan Fraser, saying, "I hope you succeed, son. Because remember, no one wants to be a monkey." It's legitimately pretty good. I remember seeing it in cinemas. Plus, it does amaze me how small screen time Vision had in the MCU in terms of film, because he was in what? This, Civil War, and Infinity War, and by the end of Infinity War, he's dead.
Yeah, but I think it's a testament to I think it's a testament to his character and how
Yeah.
well they were done. But like by the end of Civil War, it's just I felt like he was, fan favorite. He'd been so well
Hmm.
developed.
Yeah. Oh, out of control train. Better call Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Where's the old train driver saying to Captain America, any more bright ideas?
I got a few. Yeah. I think if this film,
Hmm.
if you needed to trim this down, I think this is the sequence to trim. I think this
Yeah.
action sequence is
Hmm.
a bit too. Maybe one action sequence a bit too many.
Yeah, because I'd say maybe trim this and maybe add more to Thor's pool scene where he sees the stones, because just
Yeah.
might have added a bit more context.
Yeah.
Yeah, they create vision and it's like my God, I've created life. Well, on to the next thing. And this is the last time Samuel L. Jackson appears in an MCU film until the post-credits scene in Infinity War.
That's very true. Yeah, it's quite. You kind of forget how little he's in the films after a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah, it amazes me it wasn't in Civil War or anything like that.
Yeah.
Did they do the same with Jarvis putting him into Ultron in the comics as well?
Um.
I mean, into Vision.
Intervision. Yeah. I'm gonna have to look that one up again. I'm not big on Vision in the comics. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not like huge on the Vision character in the comics really. Um. Do. I don't believe so.
Ah,
Don't
okay.
believe so. He's right. I'm in a loop. I'm caught in a time loop, and it is quite
Yeah, I love that.
true.
Yeah, they are in a loop because here they're doing the same thing
Yeah.
again, creating a new form of life, but he thinks, oh, we can win this time because we'll just put
Yeah.
Jarvis's
Yeah. Yeah.
elements into it. But nope, that's not how it works. I love in Infinity War that line of, where's Vision? I don't know, he turned off his transceiver, we can't see him anymore.
Yeah.
You lost another stone? Yeah, because earlier in the film, Ultron did mention extinction of the dinosaurs, and it makes sense why he wants to use a meteor,
Yeah.
which he probably learned from the internet. I mean, if he's seen everything off the internet, just imagine how much porn's in his head.
Oh God, he's got a vast knowledge.
Yep. Reminds me of that Simpsons joke. I have a hardware that downloads porn off the internet a million times faster. Does anybody need that much porn? Oh, so much porn. Oh. I mean, I always make that joke in Dalek when it absorbs the internet. It should have said, so much porn. What's this, Dr. Screw?
Doctor Screw. Oh God,
That is a
Doctor Screw.
thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. You can buy a DVD set of it.
Oh,
You can
God.
literally buy a DVD set of the entire series. That is.
Was it made when David Tennant was the Doctor? Because from what I've heard, it's got a David Tennant and Billy Piper look-alike
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
Oh Christ!
There's like a continuity between these things. Like there's another one that like
Jesus.
separate from Doctor Screw, where they brought back the actor who played Doctor Screw to regenerate into the actor in that one. So there's like a continuity between the porn parodies.
Oh God. Oh. I mean, who cares about a fucking storyline? You're not there for that. Clearly.
Yeah. There is a clip of one I've seen where they actually put thought into the jokes. Like
Oh, lovely.
it was like the Doctor regenerates into a woman in one of them, and everyone's like, "Oh, Doctor, the Doctor's hot," and it's it cuts to the Doctor, and she's like, "Well, of course I am. Why would the BBC?" And this was like in 2013. Why would the BBC not miss an opportunity to diversify the cast and cast a female lead? And somebody just whispers in her ear, and she goes, "Oh, they went that way, have they? Oh, never mind then." It just carries on. And so that's genuinely funny.
Yeah. Speaking of porn parodies, where's Vision's penis?
Ah, yes. Yes.
Be honest, we're all thinking
Oh,
that.
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess the person to ask would be Wanda.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
But in all seriousness, I do love that scene of him coming to life and just stopping
yeah.
when he sees the whole city. It's almost like an E.T. kind of moment where,
Yeah.
when he's walking through the forest, sees the city and goes, "Oh."
It's very true. Very true. And it's this wonderful kind of like
Plus 2001: A Space Odyssey
like
a little bit.
infant discovering the world. Like
Yeah. It's great that Paul Bettany finally has a physical role to play in the MCU. Because for years he was just a voice.
yeah, and it's great that they kept using him and bringing him back.
Yeah, and I just realised this. His dad, I can't remember the actor's name, was in Doctor Who's State of Decay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
Right.
plays like a rebel that Romana befriends. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
can't remember his dad's name, but yeah, there's some trivia
Well,
for
there
you.
we go. Yeah. It's fun. It's funny. Like we see this interpretation of Vision as this kind of almost religious-esque figure, and then cuts a few years later, and he's in suits and he's in jumpers, and in
Yeah.
One Division, he's got like wigs, and it's just funny how the character's progressed.
Yeah, he almost is a bit like Jesus. Gets stabbed in the side,
Yeah.
um, and he's resurrected. I got a huge laugh in the cinema, I remember. When he just held up the hammer.
Yes.
The audience just went, oh, and then forced reaction, everyone was just starting to laugh.
I remember that too. Yeah, it's it's a great
Yeah,
moment.
again, the whole challenge to lift Thor's hammer, you think it's a throwaway joke, but it's used again here.
Yeah.
And yeah, Vision, monologue saying, maybe I am a monster, maybe you can't trust me, but we can fight Ultron, let's go.
Yeah.
Gives him the hammer, and we know if you can lift up the hammer, you are worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
So just from that one gesture, it tells us everything we need to know about Vision's personality.
I always forget that this is first appearance of Friday as well. This is where Friday becomes the big
Oh yeah.
AI for Tony.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite obvious as well, I think, that Pietro is gonna bite the dust.
Yeah. I mean, was he the most major MCU death until, what's his name? Will's not quite dad. Yondu.
Oh,
That's
Yondu,
it.
yeah, probably. Not gonna lie, yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean Coulson maybe.
Oh yeah, that could have been one. And yeah, while the climax is another world-ending fight, what I
Yeah.
do like in this one compared to the first one is that they're actually helping people. They're
Mm,
making sure that
yeah.
people have gotten off the meteor safely. No one is left behind. Whereas if you look in the first film, they're kind of having, I'd say, more fun, not really caring about the damage they're causing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bringing the party to you. Whereas here it's, let's get these people
Yeah,
off.
exactly right. Exactly right.
Because again, it links to the themes of the film of becoming better than what you are.
Yeah.
I was like, you look puffy. You're stalling.
It's kind of funny that they make a big thing about Ultron's new form at the end, and it doesn't look that different.
He grew a whole 2 inches
Yeah.
taller. Ah! That was used a lot in the trailers. The drones coming out of the water and ground.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, is it again? It's a really cool image.
Yeah. Because Ultron, when you get down to it, for Doctor Who fans, he's basically a Cyberman, but with emotions.
Essentially, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, it does remind me a bit of Ashad from Series 12.
yeah.
It's like here how they're upping the ante. Because again, it's a city under attack, but this time it's flying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
It's a great. Again, it's such a cool image, like a city flying. You know, it's really
Yeah.
good.
At least it's not another portal in the sky.
Yeah,
The inevitability. That's good foreshadowing for the next Avengers villain.
yeah. That's oh god, that's true.
Yeah, because he says, you rise, then you fall. And that's what Thanos does.
Yeah.
Everyone rises in the universe, but then he makes them fall with a snap of his fingers. So this bit here, this is the last time he's Bruce Banner until Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, which explains why the the Hulk is so evolved when it comes to Ragnarok. Because
Yeah,
he's been that way for nigh on what 2 years?
yeah. Plus also, poor Banner, he lost two
Two
years of
years
his
of his
life
life.
because when he comes back, he asks for, did we win? Is Sokovia safe? Like, Jesus, that was 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
exactly.
Poor guy. Plus also Quicksilver's first and last lines to Hawkeye in the film are, "You didn't see that coming."
Yeah, yeah. That's I didn't realize it was kind of that symmetry. I knew obviously it was a callback earlier, but I didn't realize it was his first
hmm
and last line. Yeah.
Well, that incoming already came in.
Yeah.
And I love his advice to the rest of the team. You get, yeah, you get hit him back hard. You get killed, walk it off.
Yes.
He's
That's
so
such a cool
brilliant.
line.
hmm
So, yeah, there's a lot of great dialogue in this. There really is. I think it's
Yeah, again, as much as I think he's not a very nice person, he is good at writing. Joss Whedon is good at writing larger than life characters.
Whedon's dialogue has always been absolutely fantastic. Like he
Yep.
knows how to write characters.
Yeah. Oh, there's a shot coming up here where he gets his arrows out, and it looks like Wolverine's claws. I
Oh
remember that
yeah,
in the
yeah.
trailer. So many people were like, "Oh, is Wolverine
Yeah.
in this?" Yeah, Spider-Man's going to be in it, and Wolverine. Hey, let's throw Thomas the Tank Engine in there while we're at it.
Why not? Why not?
He's going to help defeat Ultron.
Yeah. Honestly, this is one of my favourite bits in the MCU. The city is
It
flying,
is, yeah.
and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
hmm
It's so good.
Imagine if that was Peter Parker. Oh my God, I'm an
Yeah.
Avenger.
God. Because I think that's the way you use Hawkeye in a way that makes his
hmm
presence worthwhile. You make him the grounded everyman that's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Why
because
am I here?
from what we know now with his family, he's probably the most quote unquote normal Avenger
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's actually got a family to go back to. None of the other Avengers
yeah,
do.
definitely. And
hmm
just the whole thing that he's just like essentially one of us. Like when he walks out the door, he's just like, the city is flying, and he just kind of has to psych himself up for it. Um,
Yeah, none of this makes
None of
sense.
this makes sense. It's great.
I love that. You'll never what? You didn't finish.
It's so good, and I'm watching this now. It's just like if you think this is one of the worst films you've ever seen, or one of the worst superhero films you've
uh,
ever seen, it's like, come on,
have a
it's
bit of
just yeah,
perspective,
it's like
really?
this.
Fair enough if you don't like it,
Yeah,
but
this is
just
nowhere
worst
near.
film ever made.
Yeah, it's nowhere near that.
It might have been the worst film ever made until a certain Force Awakens came out later that year.
Oh yeah, of course.
Then that was the worst film ever made until The Last Jedi came out.
Bloody hell, that was the
And
same
that was
year
the
as
worst
this.
film. And that was the worst film ever made until. Oh no, wait, according to the internet, it's still the worst movie ever made.
See, this seems so much older than The Force Awakens to me. Force Awakens just seems like so recent in comparison to this.
Yeah, 2015 gave us this, Spectre,
Yeah.
Jurassic World, Force Awakens.
Yeah, see, it's weird. Force Awakens still seems so new to me. The rest of them, see, like, yeah.
Yeah. You little bastard. Language. I used to do that in my drama course at uni. Whenever someone swore in the chat or swore in person, I'd just do a cap and be like, language. You just got shot in the arm. You'd probably be in a lot more pain than just going, guys,
I
come
think it's a
on.
graze, isn't it?
You'd probably be screaming.
I think he's just
Yeah.
grazed. Yeah.
But even so, getting grazed by a bullet, it can
True.
hurt.
Yeah. True.
I don't know if we missed it, but there's a line that Ultron says to Thor. He's just like, Thor, you're bothering me. Like, there's no reason. He just hates them all
Yeah.
now. Yeah, that line there. I'm not leaving this rock with one civilian on it.
Yeah. It's so good. And like that as well, yeah, there's worse ways to go. Just sort of accepting the state of things.
Here, you son of a bitch. You kiss your move with it, man.
It's so good.
You're talking... He's Samuel L. Jackson's telling someone off for swearing. Ironic.
Yeah.
I have had it with these motherfucking drones in this motherfucking city.
And it's great. It's great that like this is like world-ending, city-shaking consequences, and then that is explored in Civil War, like the people who died.
It is, yeah,
this.
the people who died there, and the reason Tony changes his ways is because of that woman coming up to him saying, you know, my son died in Sokovia, something like that. Brilliant. It amazes me they didn't put Falcon in there either.
No, yeah.
Hold your own. You had to make it weird.
See, you never lose sight of these characters' voices when they get put into team-up films.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And with those airborne lifeboats, I'm glad it's not a Titanic situation, women and children only.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I am running out of things to say.
Yes, it's brilliant.
You know, he should have said, you once spoke to me about intelligence, that it was a gift to be used for the good of mankind.
No, as well. It's terribly well balanced.
I love that shot there, going from inside the suit to
Yeah.
cutting away outside and him flying
They
away.
they
That's
tease
great.
again though. Avengers, time to work for a living. It's like you think they're gonna say assemble. It's like
Oh yeah, true.
tease it again.
Mm-hmm. The Hulk is a bit absent from this climax a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we've gone from go be a hero and obviously that's his next appearance. Oh well.
Another
Badass.
dirty joke there. You and
What?
Banner better not be playing hide the zucchini.
What does that mean?
Hide the. I don't know what a zucchini. Hang on, let me look at what a zucchini is. I imagine it's like hide the sausage. Like
Oh.
some innuendo like that.
Little Britain, when Matt Lucas and David Walliams did a live tour of Little Britain Live, they played Hide the Sausage. On that. God
It's
Almighty.
like so a zucchini is a like a courgette, like a
Oh, lovely.
yeah, just like a
Mm.
pretty damn incredible. We haven't spoken about the score either.
Yeah, it is good.
Danny Elfman.
Particularly this track here, the da 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 da.
Yeah,
It is
I'm so
good,
happy that
and I love how it morphs into the Avengers theme when for Vision and Iron Man are shooting at Ultron.
yeah
It's great.
yeah it's very like even though it's a different composer, I'm so glad that they kept the theme.
Hmm. Plus, with the scene coming up and him going, with the benefit of hindsight, and Hulk punching him. Do you think that's their attempt to recreate the puny god moment?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, his face melting away. Yeah, it's
Again,
great.
another really cool image.
Hmm. With the benefit of hindsight, I love that. And when he takes him out of the plane later, he's like, "Oh, for God's
Yeah,
sake!"
yes, yeah. I like it as well because a lot of films wouldn't bother to address the fact that Rhodey doesn't really know who Vision is, so it makes sense that he
Yeah, he
go,
doesn't
okay,
know.
what was that? Like, makes sense.
Also, I'll point out this. Their accents are pretty
Yeah, it
shite.
makes sense that they dis-
Because I
decided
think
to
by
drop that.
Infinity War, she's completely
She's
lost it,
completely lost
hasn't
it. Yeah,
she?
yeah, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does she have it in WandaVision?
Not in the not in the main series. She does reprise it a little bit
Ah,
in the I've been talking about the flashback episode. She does have it a bit in that,
right.
which
Makes
does make
sense, yeah.
sense. Yeah. The main thing, well, the thing is with WandaVision, because she's like playing the sitcom thing through most of the series, like in the 50s episode and
Hmm.
stuff, she's talking in this over exaggerated like 50s esque accent. So, and they both
Okay.
are really, like Vision is as well. So
I mean, it's the theme song, Wonder Vision. Well, Wonder Vision.
thing is, you're joking, but it's not
Like,
far off.
oh,
It's not far off. They did the new theme song for every episode. It was based on the theme of that week. Um,
do they do a To Me To You?
oh, I
Hello.
wish.
Yeah. I remember once I saw Paul Chuckle, the taller one,
Nice.
at Pontefract race courses, and my parents, they were quite pissed, and they just kept shouting, "Oh, look who it is! It's to me, to you!" And he just wanted to walk away,
Oh
like, "Please
no.
stop saying it." And I think he even said, "I don't hang around with my brother 24/7. We do have our separate
Oh
lives," because it was before Barry had
yeah.
died. Yeah, it was just like, "Please leave me alone." Uh, But apparently, I had a friend of mine who went to uni. Barry Chuckle once walked into his bank, and like one of the staff said, "Hello, to me, to you," and he just went, "Fuck
Yeah.
off." I bet they do get sick of
Yeah.
it. Conveniently, those bullets don't hit Thor or Cap.
Yes. Conveniently, yeah. And I
I
again,
mean, I'm just going to point out this. I know he takes the bullets, but surely, with how powerful they are, they would have gone through
yeah,
him and through
no,
Hawkeye
they
as
totally
well.
would have. And probably the kid as
Yeah,
well. I'm not gonna lie. I
yeah.
thought Hawkeye might have died when I first watched this in the cinema because they were building his character
Oh,
up throughout
okay.
the entire film, and then
Yeah, it does make sense
yeah,
because they're showing that he has the most to lose out of all the Avengers.
Yeah, and he has that big moment of like determination looking at the bullets. I really thought it was going to be like,
Yeah.
okay, is this going to be?
hmm Yeah, because the MCU did have a kind of stubbornness to kill off its
Yeah.
characters, and it still kind of does. Yeah, George R. R. Martin would be so angry. As he said before, it irritates me when I watch a piece of fantasy and him and the hero and his six buddies go on an adventure and none of them die.
Yeah. Well, George R. R. Martin is like, I swear he's living on
I
like
mean,
the hype of will he ever finish the series, right? He's just living on that
Oh, yeah, I
hype.
know. It's literally been 10 years since the last The Song of
Of
Ice
course
and
he
Fire
has.
book. Yeah, just. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, his views on death in fiction are pretty interesting because he said, if I was writing Lord of the Rings, I'd have kept Gandalf dead.
Mm.
Because I feel he comes back and the only thing that's changed about him is that he's white.
Yes.
But not in that sense.
Yeah.
Just
No. Yeah.
he's come back as Gandalf the White. I feel yeah, because she says later when she takes out, it's like that's how it felt. Like we didn't really need that line, just have her
Yeah.
say, how it felt, rip his heart out.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh my God, it's that scene from The Simpsons. I have a boyfriend. You won't be needing this. Those four little words you don't want to hear your crush say.
Oh God.
Yep,
Oh God. Relate.
yep. Or those other five words. No, six words. I like you as a friend.
Yeah.
You won't be needing this. Is Sokovia a real city?
I don't believe so. I don't
Ah, so
believe so.
that's why. So that's why it no longer exists in the MCU because they just vaporize
Yeah.
it.
I think the sun's getting real low thing became a joke in pop culture for a while. Like Deadpool 2 even does it.
Yeah.
Like when Deadpool walks up to
Oh, is
Juggernaut.
it when he tries to calm down that
Oh
teenager
yeah,
who's gone a bit
Fire
crazy?
Fist,
Doesn't he
yeah.
say
Yeah,
that?
he goes, "Hey big guy, sun's getting real low." And
Perfect.
he immediately gets shot back. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thanks, Banner. You've just taken their only plane.
Yeah, right. It's done in
Hmm.
Ragnarok as well, isn't it? Because Thor
It is,
approaches
yeah,
him and
it
goes,
is there.
"Oh, big guy, sun's getting low. It's getting real low. It's getting low."
He tries that. And I love this final scene here. It's the best and worst of what Tony Stark has created
Yeah.
come face to face. Yeah. And there's literally a new dawn on the horizon. Symbolism.
Yeah, and this whole again like the Whedon dialogue. This is just um yeah, this scene's incredible. This scene's incredible. It
Hmm.
is you know, well, I was born yesterday. That it is
Yeah,
just
because
so
Ultron has a dark, pessimistic view of humanity,
yeah,
and with Vision, it's like, well, you missed something. Something, their grace can be in their failings.
yeah.
Failure is the greatest teacher there is.
Mm. And it's this whole a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, his work is full of that. It's like Buffy's full of that as well. It's full of these kind of quotes and yeah, again, dude,
That got a huge laugh in the cinema. I
I
was
was born
born
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good.
I'm glad we got to know this family in this film
Yeah.
because without that in that opening in Endgame, that does not hit
No, God, no.
as hard as it does because God, you feel his
Yeah,
pain.
totally right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we are. Tower's gone. We're just now at a
Just now at a
compound.
compound.
Get new
Yeah.
Avengers facility.
Shame, really. I do like the compound, but it would have been nice to.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we just saw Selvig there as part of the
Yeah.
compound, as part of the staff. So I wonder, was he supposed to be around more?
Yeah, I think probably. And Natasha posing up a storm in an empty
Hmm.
room, dramatically looking at a
Yep.
phone.
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta, I find that a bit funny.
Hmm.
It is interesting as well that Winter Soldier made a big point about like Fury's removing his eye patch. Things have
Hmm.
symbolically it's symbolic how things have changed and ideals have changed and everything, and it's interesting that this kind of resets the status quo a little bit in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I'm surprised his Thor's vision didn't show him the time or Soul Stone.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I mean, it does say no one's seen the Soul Stone for years, but the Time Stone would be with Doctor Strange right now,
that
wouldn't
is
it?
true. Yeah,
So yeah, as I said, this is the last time they see Thor for what, 3 years in this
yeah.
timeline? And next time Cap sees Thor, he's got a new haircut.
Notice you've copied
Next
my
time Tony
beard.
sees, yep, next time Tony sees Thor, he asks, "What's up with him?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and in Endgame, he says here, maybe we should take a leaf out of Barton's book. In Endgame, he's got a house that's
Yeah,
pretty much in the middle of
that's
nowhere with
really
his
nice.
family.
Yeah, that is really nicely done.
Yeah, because you'd think he'd be living in a big penthouse or something like that, but that's what I love in Endgame. It's just a small, simple um, cottage.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad that like he's Steve has kind of re-
given up on trying to have a
Yeah,
family.
he
Yeah.
hears the soldiers. He hears the noise of the soldiers in the military. He's like, I'm home. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Mhm. And again, the blip, he couldn't move on
Yeah,
from it. But yeah, plus yeah, I will say I really did like this new lineup of Avengers. I
very
thought, oh
cool.
cool, I
Yeah,
could see where this goes in future films. But then Civil War comes along and it's just like, nope.
yeah.
I guess that's the point. Avengers. Should have kept that
In
in.
tease again. Two teasers this
These
film.
titles.
Oh yeah,
Well, not titles, but
I'm
credits.
shocked.
These statues are
I'm
great.
shocked they never actually did a statue like this. It would have
I
been so
know.
cool. Expensive, but cool.
Mhm.
Ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh, the music's so good as well.
It is good, yeah. Well, I do remember this. Danny Elfman did the score, and because the news had come that Spider-Man was joining the MCU, people were
Yeah.
like, "Spider-Man cameo?" Like,
Yeah.
really?
Ba-ba-ba.
I mean, Ramin Djawadi did the first Iron Man film, and then he went on to do Game of Thrones. Doesn't mean Iron Man's going to pop up in
He's
that
he's
series.
doing Eternals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
cool.
doing
That's
Eternals.
great.
Which is pretty cool.
I mean, he's coming back for the Game of Thrones spin-off, House of the Dragon.
Oh, is he?
Which I'm
Okay.
so glad because his music for that series is just utterly phenomenal.
Mm.
Yeah, that statue's great. It's a shame they never
It
made
is, yeah, big shame.
Mhm. Plus, I also heard Tom Hiddleston was supposed to have a cameo in this film, but it was
Yeah,
cut.
it would not surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, given
Yeah, because I bet he was supposed to be in Thor's Vision.
yeah, given the Asgard
Because
scenes.
obviously, yeah, because Dark World ended him with ruling Asgard, being like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And that would have been cool. But then again, it would have kind of screwed up the continuity for Ragnarok because supposedly he had no idea that Loki had taken over, had he?
Yes. No. Yeah. No idea. Yeah.
Because had he known that, he probably would have gone back home immediately.
Yeah.
But he was gone for 2 years, wasn't he? Yeah, I remember people being disappointed at this mid-credit scene, but again, in hindsight, I do like its place here. It sets up for the next Avengers film perfectly. Fine, I'll do it
Yeah.
myself.
Totally makes sense.
This became a meme, and some of it was quite disturbing.
Yes.
What came out of this, like, when she refuses to jack you
Oh,
off,
God.
fine, I'll do it myself. Just like, oh, come on, I don't need to know that.
That Thanos was all CGI, right? As well. That wasn't mocap. I think that was another.
I don't
completely
think so,
CGI
no.
one.
Plus, his eyes were green there, weren't they?
Yes, they
It's-
were. Yeah.
The shade, yeah, that purple shade looked a lot different from what we got in Infinity
Yeah.
War. But, well, I remember when that mid-credit scene, came out with the film, quite a few people criticised it, saying, yeah, I'm sure he'll live up to the hype. Like, is anyone going to care when Thanos eventually does show up? They've teased him for so long now.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
boy.
were wrong. Very wrong.
I mean, to be honest, I was one of those people thinking, is it too little too late for Thanos now?
Yeah, see, it's all worth it in the end, isn't it?
It is, yep.
Yeah, right. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Helen Cho just disappears from the film. Never see her again.
Never to be seen again, nope.
That's mental.
Yeah. Yeah, and funnily enough, there's only a mid-credit scene. There's no post-credit one, is there?
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it's one of the few like mid to late MCU films that doesn't have a. That's quite a. So that, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even so, every MCU film, even if they don't have a mid-credit scene, they would
Yeah.
put one at the end.
No. Yeah.
Like Infinity War, that doesn't have a mid-credit scene, but it's got a post-credit one.
Yeah. No. I mean, normally the whole, the formula is is that the mid-credit scene is the kind of one that sets up elements of the latest films, the next film, whatever.
Yeah.
And the end credits one is a joke, like a little
Yeah,
gag.
like in Spider-Man Homecoming, you've got the Vulture in prison, and then it's a joke like, sometimes patience is a virtue.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It makes sense, yeah. But yeah, Age of Ultron. I like it.
I do like it as well. Out of the 4 Avengers films, it is probably my least favourite, but I still really enjoy it as a film, you know. It's not the worst thing ever made.
Definitely not.
That a lot of people try to convince me.
Yeah, too right. No, it's flawed, and the studio interference is unfortunate, and parts of it haven't aged the best because of the Joss Whedon stuff and everything. But it
is trying it is trying to do what a good sequel would do, not just repeat its predecessor, but expand upon it. And it, in a lot of ways, it does succeed in doing that. But in some ways, I wouldn't say it fails. It just buckles under its own weight.
It's lackluster, I think, in a lot of areas. Not all areas, though.
Yeah,
not all areas. And it's flawed, but it's nowhere near deserves the hate that it gets. It really gets a drubbing.
If it comes to MCU rankings, I'd probably put this in the middle.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's slap bang in the middle. It's
We've had 25 films now, so yeah, this probably come in the middle.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, that makes sense. It's one of those.
Well, we've got Eternals in a few weeks as of recording this commentary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which I am looking forward to seeing. We've also got No Way Home at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's all kicking off. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the whole thing on Twitter currently, but the Eternals had its premiere last night, and the
okay.
There's a writer for Variety, and he's just been tweeting out massive spoilers left and right.
That's not
massive.
good.
So I've seen quite a lot of the spoilers just because he's been openly tweeting them out. So he's going to get sacked. Because it's just it's mental. So that's unfortunate, but yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to Eternals. I don't really know what to expect from it, to be honest.
Yeah, because I know virtually nothing about the Eternals.
Yeah, same. I'm looking forward to some Jack Kirby.
I knew nothing about
Celestial stuff.
Shang-Chi either, and that turned out really good. I think.
Yeah, Shang-Chi was fun. It's all right. I'm looking forward to Jack Kirby-esque, massive, sort of mental comic book visuals, which the trailer looks like it's giving us. To be fair, so.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Richard Madden and Kit Harington in it because obviously they were both in Game of Thrones. Yeah. But Kit Harington definitely because after Game of Thrones ended, he did go into rehab.
Oh, did he?
Poor guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I mean, I know people joke saying, "Oh, the last season was that bad."
Oh
but
God, no.
In all seriousness, he'd been playing that role for all his life. It was his first role after leaving drama school, I think, and suddenly it had come to an end after 10 years, so I think it did take it's toll on him because he does have drinking problems as well.
I didn't know that. I hope he's doing all right. Yeah, no, it's weird to think about how devastating it must be when a long running role, even if it's a good end, when you're happy it comes to an end, because it becomes so part of your life. It is, But anyway, that was the commentary to Avengers Age of Ultron. What will we be doing next time?
Next time, everyone will be tuning in for the Infinity War.
Yes.
You may think I'm teasing that we've got someone else coming on for the commentary, but no, we don't. That's just my own way of hyping it up. Yeah. Avengers Infinity War will be
the
next.
most ambitious crossover in history. Infinity War is next. In the meantime,
I mean, ambitious crossover. You clearly haven't seen Peter Kay's All-Star animated
band.
Oh
God, no. That walked so Infinity War and Endgame could run.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the meantime, go subscribe to Isaac's channel and check out our full playlist of commentaries on my channel. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.